What is up, guys? Have another light bar courtesy of Auxbeam. This time it is their 45-inch cross series bar, which is 288 watts, I believe. Along with that, I have their wiring harness. So this is kind of like a hybrid mount between what's on the Jeep and what I have on the front of the Focus already. It has the same mounting system that the 5D bar does that's on the Focus now, where you can slide the mount side to side and rotate them forward and backwards. It makes it really easy to just get everything all lined up and precise. These bars don't even have to be exact because I can just loosen the bolts on these and send in the light bar like that. So much easier than the ones that mount on the ends or have fixed posts on the back. Gives you a lot of freedom for mounting, and I definitely prefer this design over the other design of my old light bar, which is that guy over there that had just the side mounts. So these are the brackets I ended up making. They are 1-inch aluminum square stock that I have cut at angles to give it a 4.5-inch push forward and a 1-inch push down, mounting it to my roof rack. I designed them in SketchUp. I'll have photos of my little build process that I took. Camera was dead last night and it was 27 degrees, so I was just trying to get these things banged out. But yep, everything's pop riveted together. I do not own a TIG welder. I would love to have been able to weld these. It would have been a lot easier and cleaner. But I'm going to be coating them in bed liner, so it shouldn't be too ugly when everything's all said and done. Just need to go in, file up these edges a little bit, round the corners, clean everything up, and then I have some 1-inch square plugs on order for the ends of them. I'll be doing all 4. I'll be plugging the middle ones too. So I'm going to take these things off the bar and bring them upstairs, get them coated in some bed liner, and then while the bed liner's drying, I will be wiring up the bar. I think I'm just going to have it come up, run it through the door seam. I'm not really sure about this window trim, and it's pretty narrow up here at the top, and I don't really want that much of an exposed wire, and I don't want to drill into that cover. So I should be able to run it through the door seam fine, so let's get that going. So wires push through, runs up around, and stops about here. The wire for the light bar is I'm gonna try and keep it on connected to this, but I'm definitely gonna zip tie it to the clamp, and that's gonna run down in there, and then it's gonna be a solder and heat shrink connection. On this gasket, all I did is I cut out a slot in the metal part, filed it down. That way I'm not cutting up any wires. Fits good. It's not the best looking way to do it, but it's a hell of a lot less effort than putting it through the firewall, and this will only be seen by me. If it ends up being something that I want to change, then I'll just push it through the firewall and run it up, but for now this is going to be good enough. Brackets over here are just about done. Like I said, file down the edges and gave them a paint with some bed liner. They're pretty much dry. It says about an hour to dry, and it's been 45 minutes. It's 50 degrees outside, it's an hour at 70, so I'm probably going to give them another half hour or so. There's no humidity outside, so things are drying up pretty quickly. I just don't want it to scratch and chip putting it on the car. But once these things are dry, I'm good to throw the bar on the car and then finish up the rest of that part of the wiring. But for now, let's go back to the engine bay. So I have all the wiring up here at the front. Same place that I have all the stuff for the other light bar, and I'm going to run it off a lot of the same things. The way that this wiring harness is set up is you have a positive and negative that directly powers the lights. Then you have a second positive and negative that powers a remote switch, which is right here. And this is what sends the trigger signal to your relays, which turns on the light. So since I'm not planning to use the switch, I want everything to turn on automatically. I'm going to use the wires that return to the relays, the blue and the white, and I'm going to attach those directly to my 12-volt sources that act as a trigger. So one will be going to my front light bar, so that way the roof light bar and the front light bar turn on at the same time. And the other one's going to be going to my fog lights, so that way when my fog lights are on, the daytime running lights are on. I want the daytime running lights on the light bar to turn on with the fog lights, because I really like the look of just the headlight daytime running lights. They're just like the little two slits. It's like angry eyebrows almost. I like those on their own, and I'm not sure how I will like it with the giant light bar light at the top. It's definitely something that I'm going to play around with, see how it looks, but as of right now, I think I'm going to want it on the fog, not on the actual daytime running lights. So I'm going to start cutting this thing apart, resolder it, and heat shrink it to get it to how I want it, and I'm going to start giving this thing power. So wiring is all set for now. Everything's just twist and taped, but I have the blue wire going onto the fog light, and then the white wire going onto the power wire for the front light bar. Run through, you saw me pull that, and then again, just twist and tape for now. Light bar is thrown in the car. But when I hit the fog light button, you can see the X's turn on, and then when I hit the high beams, the actual brights turn on. So it's pretty good. This beeping's getting super annoying, so I'm going to tidy everything up, solder everything together except for the actual light bar wiring, and then I'm going to get those brackets thrown on the car, and I'll check back in with you when everything's all done. And we're done. So, thing that I love about this car, all the wiring just goes underneath the headlight. 2 bolts to take out, super easy to remove the headlight, but you can't see anything other than 2 red wires going up the side of the battery if there's light over there. I think I said this in my original install video, but I still need to get a sleeve to put over those. Might happen eventually, but nobody looks under the hood of my car anyways because it is stock. Yeah, don't pop the hood because I'm not one of those kids. Light bar's up. I have foam blocks underneath the those brackets. I don't think it's going to contact. Like, I'm pushing down pretty hard and it's not even touching the foam blocks. But I'm going to leave those there for at least a couple days just to make sure it doesn't settle into a position that it will contact my roof. If it does, then I'm going to have to fidget things a little bit to try and get them good. But I am going to close the hood and then just play around with the lights, set the camera up stationary so you can see what it is, and I'll put little text on so you know what's what. So.